Carson Wentz is not the problem. Welcome, everyone, to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's great to be here with all of you today. While only a half-hour show, I can tell you for sure we got an exciting one in store for you. On some of these days this week, we're trying to figure out our scheduling so we can try to get as many hour shows in as possible. But a lot going on in the sports world right now. National Basketball Association, obviously, last week, NBA Championship. Not much chatter going on there. But how about baseball? How about those Los Angeles Dodgers? What a shocker. And talk about blowing leads with the Atlanta Braves, that is, and the Houston Astros finally losing the Tampa Bay Rays going to the World Series. And then, of course, the NFL, a lot going on, including some interesting information about our hometown Philadelphia Eagles. But as always, joined alongside Gavin, Tony. Gavin, it's great to be here with you. We got just 5 days until Penn State's first football game against Indiana. I'm excited for it. We're going to be able to preview that, look at that as well. We'll try to get as many hour shows, like I said, because we got a lot of sports going on right now, that's for sure. But first of all, how are you? How was your weekend?
So I'm great, and I'm a little bit shocked, by the way. Zach, we left here on Friday with the intentions of a Braves versus Rays World Series, and we got one of them. All right, didn't really get the other one. My favorite player is Mookie Betts, so I'm not too terribly upset about that. But our great friend on the show, Dewan, listen, your Braves, man. Oh man, Zach, there's a little fun truth behind that. Dewan's a really big Braves fan. So he's been a little hard to reach right now, so I gotta call him a little bit later. Zach, I'm great. How about you, though?
I feel good. I'm not upset with what I saw yesterday, honestly, from the offensive side. There's a few things, obviously, to point out, but there's a lot to break down. And other than that, I think it was a good weekend. I had an opportunity to play 36 holes of golf on Saturday.
I saw that.
It was exhausting. It was long, but it was fun, and I had a good time. So it was a good time. I do recommend it, but not every weekend. It was an 8-9 hour event. So
ladies and gentlemen,
the whole time. But the CJ Cup was on this weekend. The PGA Seniors was on. The Masters is coming up in just a couple of weeks here. We're excited. We'll be covering that as well. We'll get some prediction for that. For those who don't know, Dustin Johnson has scratched from this week from the coronavirus, but he'll be back for next week. I'm not sure what next week's championship is or next week's tournament is. We'll have to see and review that. But, of course, the Masters is the big event coming up soon. For those who watched Eagles yesterday, you probably saw the commercial a few times on CBS. But other than that, Gavin, anything else you want to mention before we get started?
Yeah, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, Zach Starr is afraid to put me out on the golf course, all right? I don't want none of this smoke, all right? I know in the driving range, I know I'm not going to be that, but when it comes to the putt, Zach, because I'm so short and low to the ground, it's easy to read the green.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little easier. I'll have to get you out there. We do have to document, get out there and play some golf. So I'm putting for Gavin, see if you can do a little better putting than I can.
Zach, I saw James's putting shot on where it rimmed out. I was a little disappointed.
I had like 10 of those early in the first round. I almost snapped my putter in half. Now, that would have been a fun video to get, but nothing here to show.
Let's get going, man. Let's get it going.
Starting off here, the Eagles fall short. And for those who may have zoned out or zoned back in or whatever, you blink your eyes, all of a sudden the Eagles are within striking distance. The Eagles outscored the Ravens 28-13 in the second half. It was an interesting game, to say the least. 30-28 was the final score. The Eagles, against the top two defenses in the league, are averaging 28.5 points a game. If there's one thing I know, and I've said this from the beginning, I blamed Carson Wentz in week 1, even though it really wasn't his fault. The only weeks I would blame Carson Wentz for, honestly, are week 2 and 3, right? And they actually tied in week 3, and he actually looked good at the end of the game. But the Rams game, he was a mess. He was missing throws left and right. He threw picks, all those things. And by the way, only one turnover for him yesterday, which was in my opinion, that fumble really should have been overturned. But here's the reality of what we're looking at. The quarterback is not the problem. Gavin, I'm sure you'll have a different opinion of voice, and we'll discuss that in just a few minutes. But it was so prevalent yesterday. All right, you want to know everything and how I know Carson Wentz is not the problem. I can probably count 1 or 2 missed throws from him, which is normal for a quarterback. The first few weeks, I could have counted 2, 3, 4 missed throws, 5 missed throws, and obviously the interceptions. But yesterday, he was not the issue. And yes, here Stephon Carson Wentz coming back and forth. My opinion, you're absolutely right. And I said this before: you give good quarterbacks a chance. But here's a few evident things. First down, you decide not to run the ball. All right, bad play call. You get sacked, bad O-line play. Second down, bad O-line play. You have to pass here, obviously, because you put yourself in a ditch. and you either lost yardage or I think that he may have threw it out of bounds. All right, so right there on the first 2 plays of the game, you have bad O-line play, which obviously is going to be toxic for any quarterback, and bad play calling because of the lack of mixture of the run-pass balance. It's hard to do it on 2nd and 22. And then the next problem, a perfect deep ball, which would have been for 40 yards if pushed out of bounds, potentially could have went for a touchdown, was dropped. And yes, it's John Hightower. He's a rookie. I'm not going to be too angry with him. It's like Nelson Aguilar in his 5th, 6th year. That's expected. So I guess you can blame the front office for that, for not putting veterans in a good position, or the medical staff, or whatever the hell is the reason that we keep getting guys injured. So on the first 3 plays of the game, all the things I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, O-line, wide receivers, either inability to get open, which is a problem as well against a really good secondary, and an inability to catch a ball when it breaks down, and bad play calling. Miles Sanders ran the ball, I think, 9 times yesterday, 8 times. Again, you're down a lot. Makes sense. I get it. But early in the game, you had some opportunities there. It turns out Miles Sanders is a lot more of an efficient running back than some people think. We looked at the statistics. It doesn't lie. So the lack of trust in him makes no sense to me. I see all the other teams, like, look at the Niners. And they're not going to be as run-heavy as them, but they have trust in their running back. They give it to him. You're the guy. Doug Peterson told Miles Sanders before the season, you're the guy. Where's it been? All right, so I'm not even going to get there, okay? It's what, 17-0, something like that at halftime. The Eagles look sloppy all day. Carson Wentz, it was the same story. You refuse to run the ball early, or if you do, it gets stuffed. You have a negative yardage play, and then you're stuck in 3rd and 15 plus, 3rd and 10 plus, and the percentage for conversion is not good for any quarterback. So Carson Wentz was not put in a good position to succeed. So what does he do the rest of the game? Gets himself out of the pocket, delivers throws, and guys stepped up. It's not just Carson Wentz. Again, Gavin, I said this before. The reason I want to give Carson Wentz the blame is because when they do well, you're damn right I'm going to give him the credit. All right? So there's a couple things here in the second half that I noticed. Number 1, Carson Wentz put his tail off. He had the mentality. He was doing his own thing. Perhaps it's the start to something. All right? Number 2, they had tempo. Credit to the head coaching staff for that. Most plays really did not have quick throws. There were a few at the end, which I'm confused why we don't do more. But yeah, a little more credit to Doug Peterson. At the end of the game, not so much, but some more credit to Doug Peterson for that. And guys did step up. Travis Fulgham stepped up. Even at the end of the game, despite his drop, John Hightower ended up having a nice second half. Zach Ertz got a few nice catches. We had a big flag downfield, which ended up getting us into range and getting the touchdown. I think Boston Scott had that touchdown too. And then you have the 2-point conversion, which I'll get to in a minute. But before I get to that, hats off to the offensive staff for one thing. And that's their utilization of Jalen Hurts in this game. Look, is Carson Wentz your starting quarterback? Of course. But this is what I said before, Gavin. The reason I didn't totally not understand the Jalen Hurts pick was because when the offense is spinning out of control, you can get a spark. Think of when T.J. McConnell would come off the bench for the Sixers. Jalen Hurts had about 4 or 5 plays just for him. And by the way, credit to Carson Wentz for 3 fantastic blocks on a couple of those runs. You want to talk about a guy who wants to win. I will never understand the level of criticism for Carson as a person. And Gavin, we talked about this whole report, so we'll get to that in a few minutes. But here's the thing. Credit to the coaching staff in the second half. But you get the touchdown, all right? And what the hell was that final play of the game? On the line against a good team. And a couple of things, too. Jake Elliott has been not so hot this year. They went for.
Can we just talk about Jake Elliott for a second?
If Jake Elliott does his job and we kick it a PAT instead to go for 2, we're in the lead at the end of that game, by the way. So here's two final points before I get to Gavin, all right? If you're going to do something like that, do a triple option. Boston Scott, Carson Wentz, or you flip it to Hurts, he either runs in or throws it. Why not utilize him there? You utilized him earlier. That's a bad play call. Or drop back and throw it, all right? I don't get it. I don't understand the execution. Even if Boston Scott got it, even if Carson tried to keep it and go in, which he tried to, it didn't work. Again, you're not going to expect to get the onside kick, especially with the rules changes. If there's one thing that I learned from this game, if you're focused on the quarterback still, you are part of the problem because it's not him. You have given him nothing but garbage. People are bitching because Aaron Rodgers didn't get a receiver this offseason. Are you kidding me? You know what Carson Wentz would love to have Devontae Adams for? Aaron Rodgers looked like straight garbage yesterday. Gavin, the Packers played their first real team, and look how they did. We'll get to that in a few minutes because I want to get your recap on this. And the Lions won yesterday, by the way, so I'm able to keep myself up for another week. But, Gavin, I'll let you get into the Eagles first before we get into the rest of the NFL. But I love Jalen Hurts. Respect him, love the story, love the spark. But he is not the replacement for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is not the problem in Philadelphia.
Well, you know who the real problem is, Zach? It's Howie Roseman that's the damn problem. I told you, Zach. You remember I told you, Zach, when DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Diggs got dealt on the same day, Zach? They got dealt on the same day. And who did they give up for? Nothing. All right. Stephon Diggs goes for a pick, and I think maybe a player, but ultimately just a pick. And then you give away DeAndre Hopkins for what, a third rounder, and David Johnson, which is arguably nothing as well. You get nobody. You get nobody. You get nobody to help my man Wentz out. Not one person. All right. So you got Alshon Jeffrey, who's too damn old. Deshaun Jackson can't stay healthy for more than 5 minutes. All right. This offensive line has been banged up since before the season even started. When we lost Brandon Brooks, arguably the best right guard in the game, Zach. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's just me.
I'd say top 1 or 2 as far as guards. Him
maybe behind Zach Martin.
Zach Martin don't have their days.
But Zach, listen. When Brandon Brooks is here, that's arguably the best side. The right side is the best side in all football. I don't care what anybody says. You got Lane Johnson and you got Brandon Brooks, who, by the way, Lane Johnson ankle still hurting. Jason Kelsey's old.
And it was just released this morning that he has a bruised up hip, which can shut him down in any second.
And then you got Jason Pierce, who, by the way, who wanted more damn money to do left tackle just for you to get injured. Shut up. We don't want to hear it. All right. When it comes to Carson Wentz, there's one thing I gotta say, Zach, that I'm really impressed with. Every year, Carson Wentz gets his backup squad, right? The practice squad, as I like to call them. Or that's what they really are. And he comes out here and he performed. We could have won last week if it wasn't for damn Jake Elliott. And can we just talk about Jake Elliott for a split second? We were in games where we just needed a field goal, and he misses. I'm not the one to come out here and saying 50 yards is easy. It's not. But
damn, he's perfect inside 50 yards, but outside of 50 yards, he's struggling.
Exactly. But when you kick from 61 yards out and make it, the expectation is you were supposed to hit those 55 plus.
He didn't miss a field goal last year till Miami.
Exactly. Zach, Howie Roseman is the real problem here. And it's off his team building. By the way, Justin Jefferson had another 100-yard game on 9 catches, Zach. I don't want to hear it, but I'm going to keep bringing it to you every week. And I know it's unfair to say because Jalen Reagor's out. But once again, the production, look at the obvious pick. All right? That's obvious. Can't criticize Jalen Reagor because he hasn't played in a while. But, Zach, when he was there, he did one deep pass, and then everything else was kind of up in here. But Justin Jefferson's been producing. And Kirk Cousins is his quarterback. And I love Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz is way better than Kirk Cousins. But, Zach, as I digress, you talk about running the football. Miles Sanders has been efficient, right? But Miles Sanders has been efficient. John, I started Justin Jefferson yesterday. I feel your pain. But Miles Sanders has been efficient with a horrible offensive line for back-to-back years. Zach, you remember that? He has done well behind garbage. Numbers show. I don't know why. And I see why Ezekiel is the best running back in the league. But when you're running around behind a great wall, I'm pretty sure I would do great. My last comments and points on last week's game is it wasn't so much it wasn't Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is not the real problem. You know, besides Howie Roseman, the second problem is Eagles fans. Eagles fans who could sit there and complain about every loss. Okay, they only lost by 2 points to argue the second best team in the AFC.
The Eagles play like this, they're winning the NFC East.
Even though they're falling short, you just gotta get a piece back.
We got a tough schedule, but all 4 teams in this division have a tough schedule. The West, the NFC, and the North of the AFC.
You know what you gotta do, Zach? You gotta call Cincinnati Bengals and be like, "What would it take to get AJ Green?"
No, I don't want AJ Green.
You don't want that?
Another injury-prone old guy? Nah, I'd rather take who I have.
Well, what would you call the Browns?
If I trade like a 5th or 4th rounder, I'd take AJ Green.
What about the Browns? Would you call and be like, what would it take for one of those 2 wide receivers? They got somebody. You got to go out and get somebody else. If you think Deshaun Jackson is going to come back.
Missed out on Robbie Anderson in the offseason. He's balling out in Carolina.
But this is when it goes back to Howie Roseman. 3 wide receivers. 2 went on the same day. You lose on Robbie Anderson. You don't get Justin Jefferson.
You have 2 guys on the trade. Hold on. You got 2 guys on the trade block, and Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Yeah.
You got Justin Jefferson on the board, right? You could have traded up.
Michael Pittman?
Pittman was there. He was a 2nd rounder. Could have gotten T. Higgins too, which was at first projected a 1st rounder. Laviska Shenault, who's doing a great job for Jacksonville right now. Talk about jack of all trades. And then you have Diggs, you got Hopkins. You could have drafted Jefferson. You could have traded up. And you could have got Robbie Anderson in free agency. I wanted him. I was the one talking about it. I thought we were going to get him and draft
I was all for it.
Those guys are balling out right now. I should be an NFL scout because the Eagles have no idea what they're doing right now. And CeeDee Lamb's balling out. CeeDee Lamb is doing a great job. He'll probably put up better numbers with Andy Dalton than a Jalen Rager with Carson Wentz. I mean, this is ridiculous. Take the layup. In a year where you have so many running backs, you have Darnell Pumphrey. Okay, that's strike one. Right? And then you refuse to go trade for a wide receiver. That's strike two.
You got
and then you draft. I think it's a good mentality, but you should have taken the more polished player. We're in a win now situation, right? This window is. I said before, the window will be open as long as the O-line is healthy and Carson Wentz is here.
This offensive line getting old too.
The reason this team has always been expected to be a playoff team is not because of their skill positions. It's because of their quarterback, respectively Carson Wentz or Nick Foles, and because of their offensive line and their defensive line. That's the only reason that people consistently say this team can go deep. And look what happens when the offensive line fades away. Right? And we talked about Deshaun Watson, too, with the battle line, all right? But he had D-Hop. Right? You get Carson Wentz, D-Hop, they're probably going to do just as well, if not better than the Texans.
Look at Kyler. Zach, I'll even take it even deeper than that. The two quarterbacks that got two new wide receivers are doing better this year than they did last year.
MVPs right now.
Same, but Kyler Murray is doing way better. Look at that. You couldn't even
Josh Allen had accuracy problems last year. Him and Stephon Diggs are balling. He's got John Brown too. These guys have talent. I think it's BS.
You couldn't get Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh, he's worse than Dak Prescott. And I said on the show that Dak Prescott's better than doing the basics than Carson because Carson tries to do too much. Why does he try to do too much? Gee, I don't know. Imagine if he had Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb and a good O-line. They're getting hurt now. Right?
Arguably the best running back in the league too.
Right? They were fully healthy last year. They were a healthy team last year. All right, no more Travis Frederick. You got two O-linemen out with surgeries for the year. And poor Dak Prescott, unfortunately, got hurt. I hope he gets his money. But when you look at it, when he's healthy, he had Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup. All right? And you look at Daniel Jones, Golden Tate. I mean, Darius Slayton.
Darius Slayton is a problem.
We have what? Zach Ertz can't even get open anymore.
Sterling Shepard as well, if he's still playing for there.
And then you look at, just name any team. Jared Goff. Look at his talent. Wow. Tyler Higbee, arguably a top 10 tight end in this league. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods.
Oh my God! Let's get technical. Let's get technical real quick.
Of all of these teams.
Let's get technical real quick. You ready? Phillip Rivers. I don't think he deserved another job. Phillip Rivers has Michael Pittman, has T.Y. Hilton, and damn it,
Jack Doyle, a great O-line.
He has great O-line. Look at Russell Wilson too. Russell Wilson had DK Metcalf, who by the way,
DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carter, one of the best running backs in the league. Pete Carroll, a great head coach.
Look at Pat Mahomes. I'm not going to rave about Pat Mahomes is unfair. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, who's going to be a monster.
Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Demarcus Robinson.
Mikael Hardman.
Was he really worth the money? I mean, he's a great quarterback. What's going to happen when he doesn't have that talent, though? You watch. All right.
Lamar Jackson doesn't have a number wide receiver, but he throws those tight ends that actually work. They run the ball effectively. That works.
Look at San Francisco.
No problem.
Carson Wentz is better than Jimmy G. Great run game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Great coach. George Kittle. Debo Samuel last night. Brandon Ayuk. They went out and got themselves a wide receiver after Emmanuel Sanders left. Drew Brees is Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. And when they're not in, Drew Brees struggles like heck. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. He's got a couple other good guys there. I think some of them are.
Oh my God. Tom Brady has Chris Godwin, had OJ. How did I put that?
Mike Evans, Gronk.
Mike Evans. You still got Rock Gronkowski. You got Cameron Brate. And think about this. Tom Brady's 41, 42. One of the two numbers. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Zach, we don't have nobody. We don't have nobody. The Dolphins even have a nice wide receiver in Devontae Parker. And by the way, Zach, I told you we're going to see Tua Tagovailoa this week. I told you we're going to see him. You didn't want to believe
it. They were blowing out, not because they were getting blown out.
And then you got Detroit with Marvin Lewis, Kenny Galladay. Even the Jaguars have DJ Chark.
And D.D. Westbrook when he's healthy. There's a serious trend here. If you think Carson Wentz is the issue, you need to reevaluate your football IQ. All right, Gavin, is that Jalen Hurts staying on the shelf for now? Are you done with it?
You know what, Zach? I will say this.
Are you done with it?
I am done with it, right? I think Jalen Hurts, it might be a little too early to say, But one thing about Jalen Hurts is I want to see more of is the Taysom Hill type offense.
I like it. I agree. I can't disagree on that. But Carson Wentz is the quarterback, and there's no question about it.
I do
That's
believe
what
in
you
the
build
future.
for. And Howie Roseman failed to do it. And please
But
tell
in
me
the
why
future,
David
we'll
Taylor,
bring Jalen
a
Hurts in the
linebacker in the
future.
third round, is not getting reps. Please tell me why Sean Brown is getting more than him, a sixth rounder. We let Casey Tuhill go, which I don't even know why you drafted him at that point. What are the Eagles doing? It's a disgrace. Honestly, I would have drafted the linebacker out of Wisconsin in the first round at this point if we knew wide receivers are going to go down.
And why the hell is Nathan Jerry still playing at linebacker? He sucks. Jim Schwartz is an idiot. All right. I think it was proven last week. You know, you need to stop the Steelers, and you put Nathan Jerry on Travis Claypool, and you still have a job. Both of them. Zach, you talk about Adam Gase. Let's go on Jim Schwartz. Let's go on Jim Schwartz. We talk about Adam Gase. Let's go on Jim Schwartz. He has not done anything. Jim Schwartz has not done anything for this defense.
I'd just say one more final thing here before we continue. We're going to talk about some other football and try to get to baseball today. We might run a little long, but I think that's fine for both our schedules. Yeah. So, Doug Peterson, I was calling for his job a few weeks ago. I'm going to take that back.
I don't know.
But here's why. Listen, hear me out. Doug Peterson is a good head coach when it comes to people and to motivating. He's faced so much adversity with this team, and he keeps these guys motivated and prepared to play. Remember, we're on fourth and fifth stringers. All right, and they look up to Doug, and he's not a bad person. He's respected in that locker room. But here's where I have a problem, and I think that this can be solved while keeping Doug here. Give the offensive play calling and the design schemes to somebody else. Bring in an offensive coordinator to play call. Let Doug be the leader because he's a great leader, in my opinion. Let him make the big decisions on two-point conversions and going for it, but allow someone else to come in and be your offensive play caller. Remember, Jason Garrett and Kellen Moore. It's not a wild idea to have your offensive-minded coach not call the plays.
Have you seen Frank Wright in Indiana? Ladies and gentlemen, and people are going to hate me for saying this. Doug Peterson died when Frank Wright left. That's the truth. That is the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah, but you can't ignore what he's done with such little stuff. I think someone else needs to come in and do the play calling and the scheming. But I have no reason to believe that he still can't be a good emotional intelligence head coach, which is so rare in this league.
I think after this year, maybe clean house. All you measure how bad it goes.
Get an offensive coordinator, in my opinion. Coming up after this, we're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers, how they finally been exposed. And then we'll touch on the baseball, an interesting turn of events in the National League. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. Just a quick update, Adam Gase still hasn't been fired. Not sure about
that. Why not? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the stuff that irritates the hell out of me. But we're not going to get into that right now. It's another day.
All right, let's talk about it, Gavin. Not sure many Packers fans are worried at all, but their defense looked horrible yesterday against a run like last year. They played a very competitive Buccaneers team who was on the verge of being 500. All right, and let's just talk about some of the things that they've done this year, Green Bay. They beat the Vikings 43-34. They beat up 34 points to the Vikings, and the Vikings are trash this year. That's nothing impressive. You beat the Detroit Lions. We know the story there. You beat the Saints when they don't have Michael Thomas, but it takes 37 points to do it. You give up 30 points to a team that lost to the Raiders. You beat the Falcons. That's nothing impressive. Gavin, they got destroyed by the Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers did not look comfortable at all. And here's the thing. Here's what's been going so well. They're winning games. And when Aaron Rodgers is winning games, it's all fun and happy and smiles and whatever he was doing in the end zone yesterday, even though they got called back.
That was a K and Peel, sir. K and Peel.
But he throws an interception. It goes back for 6. He throws another pick. All of a sudden, the rumors of him and Matt LaFleur having friction again. Is Aaron Rodgers a good leader? All these other things start popping up again, Gavin. And they're only 4-1. I'm not going to say that I'm surprised. I knew the Green Bay Packers aren't the most talented team, but Aaron Rodgers has been playing lights out this year, everybody. Please don't take that and and turn my words. I have
7-9, right? 7-9, 7-9, 8-8, right?
it's looking like that right now. The way they
I
played
just want to make sure
38
you're
points.
thinking about it. I just
38
want to make sure you're thinking
points.
about it.
Look at their schedule coming up. They play the Texans, which if they don't
Could be a
beat the
win.
Texans, you got problems. Vikings, you should win. 49ers, you're not winning the way they look right now. The Jags, you should win. The Colts game, that's no easy one. When they got Jonathan
All
Taylor.
depends on what Phillip Rivers
The
shows
Bears
up.
game, Sunday Night Football might be good. Eagles, I'm not sure about that. And you're playing the Titans and the Bears twice. Panthers is no cakewalk anymore. Gavin, were the Packers exposed yesterday?
No, they were not. It was great Todd Bowles' defense. Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Bowles is a great offensive mind. Did you see the blitz packages he had? It shows like there's 20 people coming at you. A little over exaggeration. But Zach, he's not trying. Todd Bowles wasn't trying to confuse Aaron Rodgers. He was trying to confuse the tailbacks and the tight ends. Oh, is this up blitzing? Then next you know it's a guy on the edge coming around and then hit Aaron Rodgers. Oh, is Levante David coming? No. Oh wait, he is coming. Wait. These are the stuff that you got to credit Todd Bowles for doing. The blitz packages that confuse the running back and the tight end. Am I worried about Aaron Rodgers? Yes. And here's why. I don't like to see Aaron Rodgers get destroyed like this.
It's adversity. He's not
Because number one, I have to play with Aaron Rodgers next week in fantasy football. Right? I'm not happy about that. I can't use Lamar next week. Two, Zach, how does he respond to adversity? How does he respond to stuff like this?
Gets coach fired.
The last time the Packers were bullied, and I'm just gonna come out and say it, they were bullied yesterday by the
same package like it was against San Fran last year in the NFC Championship game. It's easy to beat the Packers. You got to run the ball and you got to put a lot of heat on Aaron Rodgers early.
Where was Aaron Jones yesterday?
You no longer trust Matt LaFleur's play calling, and then all of a sudden you're starting to face a whole lot of issues. And again, their defense looks horrible right now. I haven't paid attention to their defense that much this year because I haven't had to. They've been blowing out teams offensively. But
where was Aaron Jones yesterday, Zach?
I don't know, man. This Buccaneers defense is for real. I picked up them and the Bears in fantasy on my waiver wire, which is kind of impressive. So I'm happy about that because my defenses have been terrible. But I don't know, man. The Packers aren't looking so hot right now. They're facing some adversity. They might start tipping backwards. If the Bears keep playing the way they are and they light a fire under the Packers and they feel that pressure, it's very possible that they can start dysfunctioning.
Well, Aaron Jones only had 15 yards and 1 touchdown yesterday. That's the first part. Remember, Zach, in this win streak, Aaron Jones was running the ball crazily. And then Aaron Rodgers has the game where he lights the team up in the air and throws for 4 touchdowns and goes from there. Zach, one thing you got to realize is about this Packers team, and the question is, Packers, were they exposed? I don't think so.
There's film now on how to stop them.
It shows that they still got a lot of work on. Every team has a weakness. Zach, last week the Kansas City Chiefs had a weakness. Couldn't stop the run game, right? Couldn't stop. Josh Jacobs pounded the ball and they gave up a lot of points through the air. Zach, the secondary of the Chiefs is not the greatest. What is Baltimore's weakness? Offensively, they just don't have an identity. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver. Zach, I'm not going to get into the Eagles' weakness because we have a lot of women.
Well, I do want to say here's the key to beating the Packers.
Stop the run game.
Don't let them get up early so you can run the ball. It's that simple. And let me just show you here. I can tell you right now if they're going to win a game based on who the running back is. Texans, no one special. They're going to win. Vikings, they've been trashed this year, but Dalvin
Cook is out, I think.
If he'll be back healthy, I see that game being possible. 49ers is a loss. Jaguars is a win. Colts is a loss if Jonathan Taylor plays well. Bears, David Montgomery's nothing special, but Nick Foles could potentially beat them. And then you got the Eagles coming to town. I don't trust the Eagles to run the ball.
Miles Sanders did well. Jordan Howard did last year. Do it again.
And this does remind me, though. Anything special to look at in the Lions, or it's just happy they beat Jacksonville?
Look, there's one major takeaway I could take from that game yesterday was how good DeAndre Swift looked. Yes, Zach, I think I asked you a question.
DeAndre Swift might run over the Packers next time. You don't know.
But Zach, Adrian Peterson had his way as well. But Zach, my question for you is this. Look at the Lions, right? They got 2 backs, 2 great backs, maybe 3. I don't know where Kenyon Johnson is, but if you talk about a team that can't stop the run in the Packers, It doesn't take a genius of a running back to do it. It really doesn't. Zach, Chase Edmonds destroyed the Saints last year alone, and then he put up 3 touchdowns versus the Giants. I know it's the Giants. What I'm trying to say is you don't have to have a star running back to do it. Ronald Jones can come out and give 100 yards to the Packers. I think he did. You don't need a star. You don't need like a Todd Gurley to do it. All you need is just a bad running defensive team, Packers, and then you could just run the ball easily. Hell, Zach, put me behind any offensive line against the Packers. I'm getting 100. I'm getting 150 in a touchdown. I'm getting 150 in a touchdown. I put everything on it. That's how bad the Packers' defense is when it comes to running the ball. Secondary is another story. Their secondary is actually somewhat decent. Yes, they might.
I have one more question for you here before we go to our final topic of the day. Is it safe to say that Russell Wilson is number one unanimously in MVPs and Seattle's the best team in the NFC?
Well, first of all, Zach, I don't know where the hell that just came from because Russell Wilson's been unanimous MVP already.
No, I put Rodgers up there with him neck and neck until this week.
Okay, well, yesterday proved something that Russell.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Right now, Josh Allen got knocked out last week due to Tennessee. Aaron Rodgers just got knocked out, but I think it was always Russell Wilson to begin with. Best team in the NFC, I would think so. Best complete team, maybe. The defense is a little bit suspect, but Zach, hey, the NFC is weak this year, and teams like Cowboys just lost Dak. The New Orleans Saints, who I'm not fond of. Tampa can't completely turn it around, but the team to beat it's the Seahawks.
Did San Fran look like they were in good form last night? Could they potentially get back to the top? Really?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think
Jimmy Garoppolo got benched versus Miami.
But look at yesterday's game. That's what matters.
He deserves his respect. Where?
Last night they looked like the Super Bowl contenders. They were.
Yeah, right. Have you seen their defense?
Their defense was fine against the red hot Los Angeles Rams.
Jared Goff is average. I'll say that best. He's average.
They had good weapons, and they kept Cooper Kupp at bay. But shifting over to Los Angeles, talking about 3-1. Blowing a lead. Atlanta, you used to that? We have a few more minutes here to wrap it up with Gavin. Let's first get thoughts. Any shocker, first of all, on that the Rays pulling away with the shutout in Game 7?
Randy Arozarena. I leave it that he had a series to remember. I was a little bit shocked that it went from 3-0 to 3-3. That was the only shocking part. Tyler Glasnow, by the way, threw a gem. Zach, when it comes to that series, I'm just glad the Astros lost. Nobody wanted to see that. Nobody wants to see something old, Zach. But I think the potential of the World Series got ruined last night. A great World Series. You had great offense versus great pitching, but got ruined.
And how about the Dodgers and the Braves? As a Phillies fan, I love seeing the Braves get knocked out. But like you said, you have a great offense. But now the Dodgers, who have a great offense too, have an opportunity to go up against the best pitching in the league.
Last night, you know what showed last night, Zach? DNA kills. Experience kills. Dodgers been down last year. Remember, excuse me, if it wasn't for Howie Kendrick, almost said Roseman, but Howie Kendrick to hit a grand slam in extra innings, Dodgers go on to win that game almost. The only thing that scares me about the Dodgers is the closing situation. They don't have a for sure closer. All right. And Cody Bellinger, can he stay consistent? Remember, this series was kind of written on Corey Seager. And really, the defensive energy by Mookie Betts, the best player in baseball. Zach, I'm putting it out there. The best player in baseball. I know I said NL before, but damn it, I'm going to say best player in entire baseball. We could argue this another day. But without Mookie Betts energized the team with defense. Their defense was outstanding, especially in the outfield, Zach. The Padres series with Cody Bellinger, then this year, Mookie Betts. I mean, this series, back-to-back.
Run, Rob.
Then you got the pitching from Walker Buehler, Clayton Kershaw. I don't know anymore.
I wonder if he'll even play in the World Series.
Oh, no, he's going to have to. He's going to have to, but do you think they win it this year? Because I don't know. The Rays pitching is really good. But the thing with the Rays is it's like the Yankees. You had to find more offense than just a long ball.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So we will continue with the World Series preview probably tomorrow as it kicks off later this week. With that being said, that kind of wraps up today's. But quickly, Gavin, who are you taking tonight? Bills, Chiefs, and then Cowboys or who was it? The Cardinals? Cardinals.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs tonight. You got embarrassed last week versus the Raiders, and you gotta come back out here and kind of shut up everybody. Le'Veon Bell's not playing tonight though, but I got Chiefs tonight.
I'm gonna go Bills. I think that they step up big. I think Stephon Diggs is a big night for them. I think that Josh Allen bounces back. And finally, who are you taking? You taking the Arizona Cardinals or the Dallas Cowboys with Andy Dalton?
Dak Prescott was there. I would take the Cowboys. I got to roll with the Cardinals tonight, and it's because of the offense alone. They're gonna destroy the Cowboys in the air. They can't stop nobody. They can't stop DeAndre Hopkins. You see what he did to the Jets last week. I mean, credit to the Jets, but there's no stopping him. And Chase Edmonds is gonna have a big night on the ground.
I hope so. I picked them up in fantasy. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us here on the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's, as always, great to be with you all, and we'll see you all tomorrow. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos. Again, thanks for watching.